What's up everybody, and welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're gonna be checking out this 2025 Honda Ridgeline. This one is an all-wheel drive Black Edition finished in radiant red with an MSRP at $48,900. Big shout out to Flo Honda of Statesville for providing this truck for today's video. Check out their website, linked down below. Let's get right into Honda's crossover midsize truck. Underneath the hood of the 2025 Honda Ridgeline, you're gonna get a naturally aspirated 3.5 liter 6-cylinder engine. This V6 makes 280 horsepower with 262 pound-feet of torque. It's paired to a 9-speed automatic transmission. This truck is also all-wheel drive. Curb weight is 4,500 pounds and it runs on a 19.5-gallon fuel tank. You're also looking at 18 miles per gallon in the city with 24 out on the highway. And then max payload capacity is going to be 1,500 pounds with max towing at 5,000 pounds. The overall length is 210.2 inches with a wheelbase at 125.2. Width is 78.6 and height is 70.8 inches. The 2025 Honda Ridgeline also has some off-road capabilities with approach angle at 20 degrees, breakover angle at 20 degrees, ground clearance is 7.6 inches, and departure angle, you guessed it, is 20 degrees. Taking a look at the exterior styling now with the 2025 Honda Ridgeline. We've seen this name now for 20 years, so pretty cool to see the Ridgeline lasting so long. You have a cool design on these LED headlights. You can also see how you have the daytime running light around them and then the gloss black trim. We have a blacked out Honda logo, which is also a safety sensor, your Black Edition badge as well. And then on the far corners, you're gonna get some functional openings to provide some airflow throughout this bumper. We also have your fog lights down below, as well as turn signals, and then just some plastic black material in the lower portion of the bumper. You have tons of openings to allow cooling to the engine, and overall, it definitely looks like a bit more aggressive Honda Pilot, which is basically what this is based off of. So it's more of a crossover truck. You're gonna get some smooth lines throughout the hood, fading towards that windshield, and overall, it comes together very nice to have a good blend of a rugged mid-sized pickup truck, but also a pretty standard crossover SUV. At the side profile, we have a nice design for the gloss black wheels, 5-spoke, 18-inch diameter, a little bit of the plastic black for the fender arches, and some body molding as well. For the whole side skirt, finished off in the plastic material, we have a couple sharp body lines throughout it, and then gloss black mirror caps with an integrated turn signal. You're gonna see body colored on the door handles, black trim throughout the windows, and a nice sunroof up above. So for the side profile, you're gonna be able to tell that this is a unibody vehicle. Unlike a traditional midsize truck where the cab and bed are separate, this is actually all basically one piece. So it's pretty much a crossover SUV with a bed, which does give it a lot of benefits over the competition. You're gonna see more sharp body lines cutting into the bedside. I will say this newest generation is much better than the original, where this looks more like a midsize truck. You're gonna get a lot of halogen incandescent bulbs throughout the taillights and headlights, and then we have some plastic black throughout the rear bumper. Nice dual exhaust system with the 2 tips, and you can see your parking sensors, trailer hitch right in the center, and then Ridgeline is stamped into the tailgate. Got that Honda badge, your release handle as well, and overall it comes together pretty nicely to give it a cool style, very different from the rest. Taking a look at the key fob, we have lock, unlock, remote start, Honda badge on the backside. I can go ahead and lock the vehicle, and when you go up to it, you just have a button on it, and you can also grab the door handle. So you can either lock or unlock it however you'd like. And then we have the black leather interior for this Black Edition. For the door panel, finished off with some soft touch plastic up above, and then more soft touch all throughout it. We have your padding armrest, red stitching, grab handle, all of your controls, as well as memory seating. We have our fuel cap release, and then a ton of hidden storage all throughout the door panel. Power controls are on the seat with adjustable lumbar, and then I like more of this red stitching. There's even red throughout the perforations in the leather, which looks really nice, especially on a red truck. Got your Black Edition stitched up above, stitching on the headrest, and then a cool 4-spoke steering wheel with more contrast stitching in the leather. And then now inside the 2025 Honda Ridgeline, keep my foot on the brake. Let's fire it up. Got the V6 roaring to life. Both of your screens will turn on as well. You're gonna see the Honda logo right in the center, finished in chrome. And then on the left side, we have some Bluetooth and audio controls, as well as the screen control. We have cruise control settings on the right with lane keeping, forward pacing, heated steering wheel, and then taking a look at the gauge cluster, I can hit the home icon, scroll up and down through all sorts of different information. You can then go into anything, make your adjustments, and then continue out and see different things. So pretty nice overall, very simple. You basically have everything you're going to need, and it's nice to see even some off-road things. We have your standard gauge cluster as well with everything expected. There's even some steering wheel mounted paddle shifters, stock on the right side for windshield wipers, stock on the left for your turn signal. Over here, we have our mirror controls. Your eco button, when you tap that, pops up on the dashboard, turn that on and off. We have your parking sensors, traction control, cargo lights in the bed. We have power. We even have some more safety information. You have a little bit of hard plastics all throughout it, and then this kind of faux stitching throughout the dash, which is a soft touch material. So not too bad there. A little bit of gloss black trim and a pretty standard looking dashboard. Nothing all too new for 2025. You're gonna get your typical Honda multimedia screen that we've seen for a little while now. Very simple to go through. You have Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. You have a physical home icon as well. You're gonna get the full navigation system that will pop up on the screen as well. And then we can also go back into home and continue scrolling left and right. You're gonna see all sorts of different tiles that are gonna pop up. You can tap or swipe. Then we have shortcuts down below. Now if I go ahead and put this into reverse, which is this button design, got your backup camera along with a couple different views, and then the P button, we're back into park. Underneath that, we have our hazard controls and all the climate. Now this has a syncing dual zone temperature, so very easy. You can adjust that. Fan speed right in the center, your modes, and you can even adjust the rear. So nice to see that touch. Heated mirrors and windows. Of course, you can turn it on and off. And then we have our heated and vented seats. You have a little bit of storage right here with plugs down below. Wireless phone charging pad with extra storage, and then your cup holders right in the center with some more of this gloss black. We have our drive select as well as drive modes, and you have the engine start stop feature. Now when I toggle this, you can go into a couple different drive modes for the street as well as off pavement. And then right in the center, we have more padding for the armrest with the red stitching and a pretty good amount of storage all underneath. Glove box is lockable. You can pop that open, pretty good space. And then one last look at the interior, pretty similar to what we've been used to seeing from Honda for the Ridgeline as well as maybe the Odyssey or the Pilot. So pretty simple interior, nothing all too fancy. We have that sliding rear glass window, sunroof shade up above, and then in the ceiling we also have an area for sunglasses, and maybe some trims will even have a mirror. You have all your glass controls, and then garage door buttons are underneath the mirror. Moving on to the rear seat space, grab the door handle, open it up. Door panel's finished off similar to the front. You are going to get a little bit harder plastics back here. You have the same soft touch with the red stitching, and there's even a nice cubby with storage. For these rear seats, you have all the same materials, the perforations with that red accent throughout them. This can seat 3 people. Now for the center seat, we can pull this down. We have a nice armrest with cup holders and storage. A little headrest that will also pop upwards, which is a cool touch, as well as getting out of the way for visibility. In the center here, we're going to get all of your climate controls. We even get heated rear seats and all the actual controls themselves. There's extra plugs down below and then storage behind each of these seats. And then as far as extra space goes, you can pull this handle, lift this seat upwards, and you're going to get a ton of hidden storage all down below it. So hopping into the back seat with the 2025 Honda Ridgeline. Now, one of the things with the midsize trucks, back seat space is always limited. My brother just bought a new Toyota Tacoma. One of the biggest complaints with Tacomas is the back seats are not that big. I will say this Ridgeline is actually not that bad. At 5'11", I have plenty of headroom. The seat itself isn't too bad. It's a little on the short side, not really going up to my leg all the way, but it is actually a high up seat to where my legs feel pretty good. Now with the driver's seat at my height, as you can tell, this is a very weird position. I am significantly higher up than the front seats. That is very odd to see over the driver. So very interesting seating position. With that, my legs are still having to go around the seat, so I can't perfectly fit behind the seat. With that said though, I mean, at least the seat is decently comfortable. It's just a really weird position, I would say. Mid-sized trucks are not ideal for back seats anyway, but this is up there with being pretty darn good. I wouldn't say, honestly, this is that much better than the competition though. So you're definitely sacrificing with any mid-sized vehicle, even the Ridgeline, but at least it is roomy enough with a lot of amenities, which you don't get in the competition. Now moving on to the bed space and tailgate, probably one of the coolest things with the Honda Ridgeline. Now we don't get a soft open, so I have to manually lift that down. However, this bed is pretty nice. It's not the deepest comparing it to the competition, but you're gonna get some tow hooks all around it to tie down different items. You can definitely still fit 2 dirt bikes in here. What's really neat is the Ridgeline actually has a trunk. So grabbing this button, we have some gas shocks. Popping that open, you're also gonna see your spare tire, and then take a look at this massive trunk. This is a great vehicle for a lot of things. If you're fishing, dirt biking, kind of anything you can think of, to have a trunk in the bed is quite awesome. With that, we can go ahead and close it. It's also lockable. And then another neat feature is the fact that this tailgate opens 2 different ways. So there's gonna be a button hidden underneath, and then when I grab this, it can open up like a swing door, which is great for getting some items out of this. So depending on how you want to use your Ridgeline, you have the ability easier access to the trunk space, and just do whatever you need to do. All right, so let's set off now in the 2025 Honda Ridgeline. So this is a very different mid-sized truck than what we're all kind of used to, which is the Tacomas, the Colorados, and the Rangers. Primarily, those are all gonna be a 4-cylinder turbo engine, aside from the exception to maybe a V6 Ranger here and there, or a hybrid Tacoma. Still can get, of course, the V6 in the Nissan Frontier, but this with the unibody design, it's basically a crossover SUV with a bed. So it's a very different construction, all-wheel drive versus a 4x4 system that all the rest will have as well. Now, when you're driving it, honestly, you forget you're in a truck. You're definitely in a Honda Pilot, I would say. It feels pretty much the same, just an easy steering, a very low dash, a short hood. It feels like a crossover, minivan type of SUV, something like that. So it's honestly, it's easy to drive. One of my friend's dads actually just bought one of these. He wanted something that's easier to get in and out of, good ride quality, and just enough to tow their small boat in and out of the lake once a year when they put it in. So something like that, this really does shine. It kind of has that car-like driving and ride quality to where, it's just a nice, normal place to be. The seats are really comfortable up here, but this is still rugged enough to do what 99% of people are going to do, which is maybe once a year, twice a year, need something that can go off the beaten path. So this isn't a hardcore off-roader. If you want that, check out a Tacoma TRD or maybe a Colorado Z71. This, however, it gives you at least the all-wheel drive and the few drive modes to go somewhere like a camping trip, some sort of off-pavement type of terrain, gravel road or something like that. This will do that just fine. It's just not exactly for the recreational off-roading. With that said, 99% of people, you're on the road all the time. And this car drives smooth. It drives like a car. I keep calling it a car. I don't know if I want to call it a car or a truck because it drives like a car. It just feels really normal. You have a great view out the windshield really easily. You can see around the car, and left and right shoulders. I mean, you have a huge window. Same with the right side. I mean, it's just a good view all around. Another really nice thing with the Ridgeline, it has a V6, a tried and true, robust V6 engine, which we are seeing less and less these days. Primarily, Nissan and Ford are really the only options if you want that. However, those are, trucky trucks, so they're not gonna drive like this. But with the V6, it's gonna be a smooth power delivery, something that's probably gonna last you 200,000 to 300,000 miles. Primarily, you won't have an issue with the engine. The transmission will probably be the thing that goes before the engine in this, just because it's a simple V6. Now, there's no sport mode or anything like that, so just leaving it into the normal drive mode, not into the eco at least, we can get up to some speed. Actually, I guess we can put into a sport mode here, which just makes the transmission a bit more aggressive. And then taking manual control with those shift paddles, it sounds good. It sounds like a V6. It's got smooth power delivery. It's not as fast as the turbo cars and nowhere near as fast as the hybrid turbo cars. But, it's gonna do what the average buyer is gonna want. It's gonna get up to speed nicely. It's a smooth power delivery. And once again, it's just a bulletproof, reliable engine. So my honest thoughts with the 2025 Honda Ridgeline. So not gonna lie, I haven't exactly been a Ridgeline fan my whole life. My brother has owned 3 Toyota Tacomas over the last 20 years. So needless to say, I grew up with the Toyota Tacoma as the mid-sized truck. We like that truck mainly because of its off-road capabilities. Growing up in high school, especially in college, we off-roaded a lot. That was something we did on the weekends to have some fun. Also now, towing a boat, the hybrid can tow 6,000 pound boat like nothing. So needless to say, that's my style of mid-sized truck. However, one of my really good friends, like I said, his dad just bought a Ridgeline, and when we were kind of giving him some tips on what vehicles to look at, the Ridgeline kind of checked all of the boxes. His dad went from an older Highlander, which really couldn't tow their boat, and that kind of had that crossover car style. So he wanted a blend of his Highlander and a truck, but he didn't want a trucky truck, something that's gonna be rough driving and just kind of have that capability that you don't need. So with the Honda Ridgeline, he was able to get a truck as far as the use goes. It can tow enough. It can tow his boat perfectly fine. It's got the utility space in the bed. That way he's not putting things you don't want to put on the inside of your SUV. You have a bed now to put stuff in the back of, but you get a vehicle that rides like a crossover. It's more comfortable. It's a lot easier to get in and out of. Very open cabin, and just a smooth on-road experience. So that is where the Honda Ridgeline really thrives. It's that mid-sized truck for the person who doesn't need the ruggedness. They just want something that is nice and easy to drive around town, do the average person utility work with it, but also be able to do the recreation with it, like towing, throwing stuff in the bed. So it really is a good blend. It has a lot to offer. This is the vehicle for the average buyer who wants something that is nice to drive on road with no real compromises as far as on-road capabilities. With the other trucks, you are gonna be sacrificing some of that on-road ride quality just to get all the off-road fun stuff, which most people don't even use. But overall though, I think the Ridgeline really does offer something for the person who wants a good recreation SUV with some of those cool capabilities that a pickup truck will offer without any of these sacrifices. So that is it for the 2025 Honda Ridgeline all-wheel drive Black Edition. Love the color. Red definitely looks great on this. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for plenty more content. And then a big shout out and thank you once again to Flo Honda of Statesville for providing this truck for today's video. Check their website linked below, and I'll see you all in the next video.